This is one you probably don't even realize you're doing, which is that you are very likely editing your work at the completely wrong time. So many people confuse the first part of the creative process, which is what I call channeling, which is when you kind of get this big idea or little idea, but there's something that you're receiving. I say from God, somebody else, however you feel about that, there's something bigger than you that's transmitting something to you, and you are receiving the idea. And then there's another part of the process, which is that you have to edit down that idea. You have to look at it with like a crucial, with a what's the word I want to say? Can't think of the word. Like a careful eye. And you have to kind of look at it and say like, what makes sense? What doesn't make sense? Does this work? Does that work? Do I change the order? And I want you to recognize that these are very different. Susan says, this is where I get stuck. It's really, really important to first of all recognize that these are very, very different energies. I call it the accordion. The creative process has times when you need to be expansive and times when you need to be contracting. And ultimately, you want to have mastery over both of these. Like, when do I expand and when do I contract? Because Susan, if you only ever expand, we know what happens, which is that nothing gets finished. Nothing gets finished. But if you only ever contract, nothing is what's the word I want to say? Nothing is compelling. There's nothing compelling about something very small and edited. You need to have the largeness of kind of this universal feeling, and you need to also whittle it down. And maybe it's not whittled down that far, but you really need both. So so many people have a very chaotic creative process because you're doing both at the same time, or you're editing too soon. So it's like you get this idea and immediately you're editing. You're like, this isn't good. Your critics come in, and your perfectionism comes in. Everything comes in, and it's already interrupting the process before you have the fullness of download. So that's why you need to like figure out a strategy to get rid of the critics. That's why you need the consistency of volume to get just used to that discomfort of sitting with the bigness of the idea. And so if you're doing them together, it just often doesn't work until you have a greater mastery of it. So it's kind of this dance of like God, Hashem, universe, source, whatever word you got, and you, like, you're both in there together, and you got to flow from one to the other and do it at the right time.